Hello, this is Lisa Russick with the podcast We Are All Psychic, and today we have Jennifer Love back for the Love series. Yeah. Hey, Jennifer.
Hey,
Still think we're all psychic?
of course I do.
I do too. Okay, we got right to that. So, listeners, we have a cool topic. I wanted to get right to this topic because it's just really cool. We're going to talk about Tantra. And so, Jennifer, would you like to explain what that is to the listeners if they don't know?
Yeah, so Tantra is very complex and misunderstood by a lot of people. Tantra has origins in India. It's pretty old. It's around 1,000 years common era, which is typically, you know, 1,000 years after the birth of Jesus of Nazareth. Um, and it's really developed from like sacred instructional texts that were really meant to describe rituals for provoking all powerful deities. So it's really historically misunderstood because in India, it was really practiced in the dark, in secret, by these Vedic priests who weren't allowed to share these, secret rituals with the rest of society.
Okay.
So, because it was so shrouded in mystery, and has these ancient roots, there's all these misconceptions around it. And so, in the kind of Western view, a lot of people think Tantra is about sex because, nobody understands kind of what it is.
I
But
don't. I'm
yeah,
learning.
yeah. So,
Just
yeah,
kidding.
absolutely. So, the goal of Tantra is to kind of arouse the Kundalini Shakti energy, which, I'm not sure, but a lot of people have heard about Kundalini. And, there's Kundalini meditation, Kundalini yoga, and that has a basis in Tantra as well. So, Kundalini is like your divine feminine energy or Shakti. It's located at the base of your spine, the Muladhara, the root chakra, right? And it's a Sanskrit term meaning coiled because your Kundalini is like supposedly coiled like a snake at the base of your spine. So people want to activate this Kundalini energy at the base of your spine. So it travels all the way up your spine, up and out through your crown chakra, and connects to the divine. So the whole point of Tantra is to increase your connection to the divine and enhance your spirituality. So it's not really about sex at all. It's
But we're going
really
to talk
about,
about how we can use it
yeah,
for
it's
sex
really about your
or work
spirituality.
with
So
it for sex.
yeah, so Tantra, the word means to expand and liberate. Um, so the essential message of Tantra is to kind of learn and evoke the god or goddess within yourself, to find and express that divinity within yourself. So it's really like the most powerful experience available to men and women, and it's about love. And so that's why I connect with it so much. And that's why I love it.
Yeah.
And I started studying it.
Yeah.
And so Tantra is not really a religion. So some people think that, oh, I have to be, I have to be Buddhist, or I have to like follow some certain religion to do it. No, you don't. It's just a practice. Um, the point of Tantra is to become more self aware, to make yourself understand what's happening around you, and just make you more spiritually connected and in turn more in touch with your spiritual beliefs. So, the like ultimate goal of like enlightenment, right? When you think about like monks spending years in meditation or whatever, it's really about this, you know, um, your energy kind of changing your material body into a light body, or what the Buddhist tantrikas call a rainbow body. And then the Christians call it a body of glory. So enlightenment is when you've kind of transformed your physical body and now you're a light energy, right? It's like the
Right.
ultimate goal of,
Nirvana. Yeah.
yeah, right. So I mean, I'm not sure that I'm going to reach enlightenment in this lifetime.
Why not
But
aim for it though, right? It sounds
yeah,
pretty
yeah, you're going to aim for it, right?
cool.
But so supposedly an enlightened body of light is immortal and has no limits, and you can become anything, and you're gifted with magic spiritual powers. So that's kind of like the ultimate goal.
Oh,
I'm not sure how attainable it is, but it sounds pretty cool.
that's
So this is kind of, the goal of Tantra to awaken this Kundalini energy at the base of your spine, channel it up and out through your crown, out into the universe to become this light body that you can connect with the divine. So, like a narrow definition of Tantra would be, these tantric teachings that are in these like sacred texts that I talked about. And they're very specific, like rituals that you can do, that were translated from these ancient texts. There's a very broad definition of Tantra that includes the use of like magical practices that you could do with yoga poses and like Shaktiism practices. And then there's like a very, what they call the left handed path, which is like a neo tantrism, or what they also call California Tantra, which is using physical items to try to gain some kind of internal embodiment, or salvation, which also uses like ritualized sex. So that's kind of like the left-handed path is what they call like the cheating way, or like the short-handed version. It's really what, people that seriously study Tantra really frown upon. um, the left-handed path is also like, people, you take a one-day workshop to learn sex magic and you go home and think you're practicing Tantra. It's very like a shorthand, way of trying to gain enlightenment by doing things using shortcuts. And so you mean, if you think about it, you can't do a shortcut to enlightenment. It's really not
everybody
possible,
would think.
right? Yeah, you would like to think that, but like that's really not possible. So if you think about it, you're not going to be able to take like a 1 day tantra workshop, learn some sex magic, and reach enlightenment. So just like, let me cut you off right there. That's probably not going to happen. Well, you can take a 1 day workshop and like enhance your sex life. I'm sure that's possible.
Yeah.
But like reaching enlightenment, I seriously doubt. So, and just so, we're clear, like sex magic is a real art and science. I'm not putting that down in any way. It's really utilizing, the sexual experience for a concrete materialization of desire and expansion of your inner life. I really do believe in sex magic. I think sex magic is real. There's a purpose for it.
Yeah,
That's
I do
that's
too.
not what I'm talking about, but like there's definitely like a that could be a whole other podcast for
Let's do
you
it
to
some
talk
other
about
time.
sex magic. But like,
We'll do
yeah.
it.
So Tantra offers, opportunity, security, connecting with others, healing your sexuality, just becoming your greatest self. So the reason that I really connected to starting to study it and wanting to teach it was, obviously, like I'm all about the body and the emotional body, and just that body, mind, spirit connection I was really like drawn to and connected to. Um, Obviously, like connecting with the divine, I'm an intuitive. I really wanted to like increase my own connection and intuition, connecting that my own kundalini out, in my increase my own connection to the divine. I thought that would be, wow, like, yeah, I totally want to do that. Yes, sign me up.
Yeah.
Um, and then, just all the practices around loving yourself. When I started reading the books on Tantra, they all start with learning to love yourself. And I was like, wow, this is pretty cool. Like, this is exactly what I teach.
Yeah.
And then, obviously, a lot of the modern Tantra books teach spiritual sexual practices. So that is really fascinating to me as well. And then, as a love and relationship expert, I really like using Tantra as a tool for connecting with your partner.
That's what I want to hear.
So, yeah, so these
How
are
did
all
it
the
go?
reasons why I like this um I method, or spiritual belief, whatever you want to call it. I don't practice kundalini yoga myself, unless you want to count the tantric practices that I do, but um yeah, so that's kind of like a really brief overview of what it is. And um
That is a great
yeah,
summary. I understand
yeah,
it a lot better now.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
So, I wanted to ask you,
sure, of
in putting, I have questions about it because let's just say I
course,
want to explore the subject myself.
yeah, yeah.
We're just saying that because I do. We're doing it. So like if I were to start exploring this now, I did have a Kundalini opening. I think it was
Hmm.
lived in Phoenix. I just had this rape feeling there, right where
Yeah.
that root chakra, and it hurt. So I started Googling stuff because it hurt for like a while, like 30 minutes or something, 20 minutes, until it hurt for a little,
Oh.
and maybe 10. It seemed like a long time, who knows?
Hmm.
But I looked it up and everything, and then I had all these like hallucinations afterwards. Not, but they were like downloads, what we call now.
Yeah, yeah.
All this information and peace and all this really great feeling. So I looked it up and I read that's the thing that sounded like that from what
Hmm.
on the internet. It sounded like a Kundalini opening or awaken. So I didn't feel. I mean, I did feel something kind of go up and
Yeah.
uncoil. It did feel like an uncoiling. But it was like it started when it happened. It was just like something just ripped it open. I don't know. And I was just
Wow.
reading. I was just sitting there reading. I wasn't doing anything.
Wow, that's
Yeah,
amazing.
and
I haven't heard of that, like an spontaneous Kundalini awakening. Usually I've
oh,
heard
yeah.
it's happening during Reiki, it's happening during a reading, it's happening during meditation, stuff like that. But
Well, I was just starting to explore the side of myself and trying to decide if it was real or not because
yeah,
science, and I was
yeah.
really big into science, and I was studying audio, and I was also studying this stuff, and I kept it to myself. And
Hmm.
so a lot of times when I would do something like reading, I would be, or watching TV and zoning out, I would be kind of in the back of my mind working on that stuff. And I think that's what was going
Oh,
on. And it just so, of course, I was really excited because it was like a physical feeling that I could explain to somebody and say, "This happened," and now I know it happened. This
yeah,
strange thing and this energy changing and shifting, but I didn't know it was called energy, just something changing and shifting,
right.
and a physical feeling. And just to be able to find other people who've had that happen, according to the internet in 2001, was pretty
Hmm.
cool, and so I do can connect to that kind of energy, and I think it's like a fire is the best way to put it. For me,
Yeah,
fire and water
yeah,
together or something.
yeah.
So which makes sense with the male and the female connecting in a sexual or sensual way, which is what I think
Hmm.
of tantric sex or love making about. It should be about like connecting deeper on a soul level so you both can connect to the divine love together at the same time, all
Hmm.
hours and hours, just be in that place together. And I'm not talking about like, yeah, hours and hours, 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 like I'm seriously like that really good. I am with you completely and totally in this time, and it's timeless. It might not be hours, it might be hours. Who knows? It doesn't matter. You're just there,
Yeah,
you know. And I feel like I've experienced that. But I'd like to take it further where we're both aware of it and we're both aiming for it. Like, how do I start that conversation with someone, say, or how would
yeah.
start that conversation?
So there's a couple of things I like picked picked out that I wanted to like touch on what you said. So first of all, I really agree with what you said. The exciting thing about Tantra is that it's a physical manifestation
That's what you
of
said.
like
Yeah, it's
your
very good.
spiritual like practices.
Yeah.
So like there's so much that we do in our spiritual practice that's all, untangible, right?
Yes.
Your intuition is this something that's like untangible. You can't really grasp on it. You can't touch it. You can't feel it sometimes unless you're very clairsentient. I'm pretty clairsentient, so I feel a lot in my body. But if you're, claircognizant or clairvoyant, you don't always like feel anything. So the whole, Kundalini awakening that you're describing, even pain, I mean, I don't know if pain is that pleasurable, but the whole feeling of like this snake uncoiling and it moving up your spine moving up the channel, up and out, that's something you could really feel. And that's what it
Yes.
does feel like to practice, the energetic movement in
Oh, the pain
Tantra.
was only when it opened, when the
Okay, okay.
chakra
Yeah,
opened up
so
for it.
that's what's cool about it is that you can actually feel something
Yes.
happening, which is pretty cool when you're like talking about spiritual practice. You don't always feel something.
Right.
So that's pretty awesome. The other thing that you talked about is hours and hours, which
Hmm.
that is interesting as well. Um, I saw this Instagram post online the other day that said there's some kind of dating coach or something saying that you should schedule a 3 hour sex date with your partner every
Awesome.
week.
Hmm.
Yeah. And I
Yeah,
was like, that is awesome. I like
that is
that a lot.
awesome.
And of course, so the first thing I did was show it to my boyfriend. Well, we should schedule 3 hour sex date every, and I said to him, I was like, well, we used to do that and we don't have time for it anymore because we're just like super busy.
Yeah.
Um, and I think a lot of it has to do with just the way our schedules are right now. And he has hockey on the weekends, and so like our Saturday night dates are fewer and far between. Our dates are more on the
Yeah.
weekdays now. So it's just
So,
like a scheduling thing,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, changing it
So
up. Yeah.
yeah, I don't think it has anything to do with how much we want to have sex or how long we want to have sex. It's just like it's a
No.
scheduling thing.
Yeah, it
And
is.
I think it's important. Like, and people say, oh, scheduling sex is so unromantic, and I don't
Not
think
for
it
three
is.
hours. You
I
have
don't
to
think.
schedule
Yeah, I
that.
think you have to schedule that. Yeah, like lives are busy. I think you need to like really block out that time. So yeah, but I think going back to that idea, and people think, wow, that's a long time to be having sex. Like that is exhausting, right? But I don't think that's all like,
You're not just
super
constantly
physical.
at it.
Yeah, yeah,
Well,
yeah.
you're
It's
taking
not
your time, taking breaks, taking some water breaks,
exactly. You're like, there's
making
foreplay in
love.
there, there's
Yeah.
intimacy in there,
Yeah.
there's breath in there. And we'll talk about that like later on, like what are actually things that you do. But I don't think it's all like physical pounding or whatever you want
Right,
to say.
right,
Like
exactly.
there's a lot more going on than just
You
like
go to the gym if you want to do that, right? You
right.
feel good after 10 minutes.
There's intimacy, there's cuddling, there's
Yeah.
foreplay, there's a lot other stuff going on in that 3 hour sex date than just actual sex. In my opinion, that's what I
That's
felt
how
like
I feel it would
that's
be.
how I felt that Instagram post was talking about.
Yeah.
But I don't know, maybe she had a different intention, but I thought that was lovely that
That's what
people
I
should be
interpret it as
scheduling
when you said,
time for intimacy because I think
yeah.
it's that important to connect like that. Yeah.
For 3 hours, like we were, like I said, you've got to block that time. Like otherwise, they're gonna be
Yeah.
somebody's gonna be anxious about it taking too long. But if you know you
Right.
got
Right.
that time, then you'll take your time. And so, what kind of
Right.
practices could you do? And say I did block away that 3 hours with someone. What
So
you
I'm really looking forward to doing this with my partner. Um Oh, I really don't. I'll have to make sure he doesn't listen to this until I do it because
do?
I really want to do this for him and with him. So first of all, there's a lot of different things that you can do. I think I talked about this once on another podcast. So a really simple thing you can do is called the melting hug, and I think I talked about this
Oh
before
yes.
when I said that most people when they hug they do what the author said was a Donald Duck hug, which
Yeah.
you're touching maybe chest but your hips are out and not touching. So when you're kind of just meeting someone and you've never met them before and it's kind of that awkward pat hug and you're not really touching bodies, you're just kind of touching maybe your chest or you're just touching your shoulders
Shoulders.
and
Yeah.
not your whole body. But when you're touching your partner or you're intimate with someone, you want to do what's called a melting hug. And so you're totally melting bodies with them. Your chest is to their chest, your hips are with their hips. And so you kind of have to rearrange your feet a little bit to get this body to body type of hug because if you're hip to hip, right, your feet are going to
Toe to
be right
toe.
on top of each other. Yeah, so you have to kind of stagger your legs to kind of make this work. And then sometimes there's a height difference sometimes between partners as well, so it kind of like takes some getting used to if you've never done this type of really intimate hug before. But it feels really good. And
It
you
does.
have to take your time with it too. It's not just like a brief hug, it's a very like slow melting hug. And you want to take like at least three really deep breaths with it. So you just like put your arms around each other and then take like three slow inhale, exhales together. And you just kind of melt into each other. And it might feel really awkward at first, but learning to breathe together is actually like step number one
And
in
something that can help with
Tantra.
breathing, something that can help you come more comfortable with the breathing is just think about getting to smell them. If you love them, you want
Mm,
good inhalation, how they
yeah.
smell, because that's a great for me. I love it. I have a
Mhm.
strong sense of smell, so it's easier to like instead of just a deep breath, they're thinking I'm weird or something, just breathing.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, it is about that, like getting that whole inhaling their scent and their essence and feeling all their, I guess, their energy in a way.
Yeah.
Smell is
My boyfriend and I don't live together. And so when I go on a date with him, I go over to his house. And like when I first get there, like I just melt into him
definitely
when I first arrive and we just take this hug. I don't even know if we never plan it. It just happens.
that happens with
And yeah, we just like when we reunite, we just kind of like hug for like 2 minutes, and we're just like hugging. We're not making out or anything. We're just
no,
like hugging
happy to
because
see each other.
we've missed each other. We haven't seen
Yeah.
each other for a few days at that point. And it's just kind of like, and gosh, for me to get to his house, it's like a 40-minute drive,
Ugh,
45 minutes sometimes because the traffic in Southern California is horrible. We don't even live that far apart, but just traffic sucks so bad. So yeah, for me to get there, it's like, oh, sometimes it's like so trying that by the time I get there, I'm
You
like,
need
oh,
that
thank
hug. You
God. Yeah,
need
I
that
need
melting
that hug.
hug
Thank
bad.
God. I'm like,
Hold me
here.
up.
Yeah. Yeah. So sometimes I'm just relieved.
Yeah.
but but yeah, it's nice. It's the melting hug is a really nice practice. The other exercise that I'm dying to do and I have not done yet, so I'm not going to let him listen to this before I get to execute it, is a
I'm not gonna
sensuality.
post it until tomorrow if that helps.
Well, no, I'm just not going to let him just do it for him. So it's a sensuality exercise.
Okay.
So if you think about using your five senses, so you have to this one's really like elaborate. You have to really plan this out in advance. So you want to, definitely do all this in advance. So your partner, you have to have at least like an hour to do all this. You want to sit your partner down. You can even like prepare your space, like make it a sacred space. Light candles, have um, a blanket on the floor or like really soft cushions or whatever. But if you want to sit your partner in a chair, that's fine too. So it's like a whole sensuality exercise. You're using your five senses. So the first thing you do is blindfold your partner. And then you want to bring out something for them to taste. And so you want to bring out chocolate covered strawberries, or you want to bring out fresh fruit that's sliced up, or whatever you feel like is very sweet to taste or interesting to taste, something that they can just bite sized little piece of chocolate, so
Well,
just
that sounds
something for them
wonderful.
to taste, that's the first sense you want them to use, the sense of taste. And then, after you've had them taste a few things, that, and then let them like give them a minute to kind of like rest that sense. And then you want to bring in the sound. So if you have a drum, if you have sound bowls, if you have a bell, or if you're not a musical person, you don't have any of those things, then maybe you just play some soothing music on your phone. It doesn't have to be that
Yeah.
elaborate, but like I happen to have these little bowls and stuff that I think it would be so fun to like play these different instruments and stuff.
Yeah.
I have a tuning fork that I would love to like just
Yes.
ding. It's a really pleasant sound. It's not
I
horrible.
know how forks work. The tuning
Yeah,
fork
yeah.
can affect all kinds of things at different frequencies. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So
Awesome.
like I think it would be interesting to like play all these different musical things to just have your partner just react, just
Get
different
that
sounds, it's
sensual,
just
yeah, it's
interesting.
something different. That doesn't happen
Yeah,
every day.
yeah. And
I was
then
fine to lover
and
chiming.
then
Yeah.
then let them like rest a minute from that sensory overload, and then you have the sense of smell. So then you want to bring in like maybe some essential oils that smell really good. You might want to try patchouli, you might want to try,
Neroli. Yeah.
whatever, peppermint, or, just
Yeah,
something
lang lang.
interesting. Like, yeah, lang lang,
Ooh, that's a
something
good one.
so beautiful, interesting, that you like to like, maybe it's your own perfume that, you think
Yeah.
will, set your partner off or whatever. Things
Bacon.
that smell lovely.
The smell of bacon.
Maybe you bring in fresh flowers,
Yes.
um, but just make it a surprise. You don't want to have these things out there and then like bring them up to your person. You want to have it put away and then surprise. And then, the last thing, did I do all of them?
You didn't
Sight.
do touch, I don't
Oh,
think.
touch,
Yeah.
obviously touch. So then after that's all through, then you want to
And see, you didn't do, oh, he blindfolded him.
yeah,
Okay.
they're blindfolded.
Blindfold.
That's the last thing. So then touch, you want to obviously you want to start touching your partner. So you want to start maybe touching their arm with your fingertips. Maybe you want to touch their face really gently. And then maybe you want to press your body against their body. Maybe you want to like sit on their lap. Maybe you want to, it just depends like what feels good to you, what feels comfortable to you. Maybe you want to get naked and want to like make sure like they understand which body part you're touching to which body part.
Yeah.
It's more romantic than you think.
This makes me
um
think of like, some people are uncomfortable looking in the eyes during intimacy. It's
Absolutely.
depends.
Some
For me,
people
like
like it
like
dark,
maybe
right?
I would like the blindfolded, say my boyfriend, and just look at him when I'm not, and he's not knowing what I'm looking at. And I get to examine him,
Yeah,
touch him everywhere, like that I'd want to with someone I love, and like examine different places, and I would want him to
yeah,
be surprised, want to surprise him where I'm touching him, and you could
yeah.
really build on that, like for
You
hours.
could have it
Have
super
that 3 hours.
dark. You could have
Yeah.
it super dark in the room
Yeah.
and you could both be naked if that's how
Yeah.
you want to have it. And then just have the one person be blindfolded. You're both naked and do the whole thing naked. It's fun.
Yeah.
So yeah, whatever you feel comfortable, whatever you want to do. And then obviously, like the last thing is to take the blindfold off, and then you want to look into each other's eyes and do like a
Oh,
soft gaze for maybe a minute. Take that minute and look at each other. It can feel uncomfortable, but you want to have like some music on in the background or something, and it really helps to have a song that is meaningful to you, or the lyrics are meaningful to you, so that maybe the eye gazing feels a little bit more loving or romantic or less uncomfortable, because the
yeah.
eye gazing it's difficult sometimes,
It's
but it can
intense.
be a really powerful exercise. And sometimes people cry, and that's
Yeah.
okay. It's okay to show emotion. It's
Of
okay
course.
to
It's
cry.
usually a happy cry.
And it is usually a happy cry. Yeah. So, and then after that, sensual exercise, you do whatever you want to do. Like do whatever you want
Yeah.
to do. It's up to you.
It should
Or
come
or you could
naturally.
or you can talk about it, or you
You can
can talk about
snuggle.
it, and
Talk
let
about it.
and your partner can tell you how they felt about it, or not,
Yeah.
and they
Yeah.
don't have to.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was kind
That's
of
a great
that's kind of like
idea. That's a
beginning
great idea.
beginning tantra. Yeah.
I think I might try that. That's a great one. I will try
Yeah.
that actually. I
Yeah.
know somebody who might want to try that.
I'm very excited about trying that. Another thing about the touch that I neglected to mention was maybe get a feather and touch your
Oh,
partner
Heather
with
is a great
with a
idea.
feather.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's a great
You
idea.
can
Yeah.
touch your partner with different textures if you have other things. If you have like maybe a uh furry robe, furry blanket, touching
And think
them
about
with
what they
different
like. Like some people
textures.
like scratches, some people like
Hmm.
gentle strokes, or
Hmm.
whatever like feels or textures they already like, or things they may have
Yeah.
never felt before. Like, that'd be fun to come
You
up
could
with.
also touch them with an ice cube to feel
Yeah,
cold.
yeah,
Yeah. So there's
yeah.
other things you could touch them
You do
with,
like an ice
but
cube and
like,
then a warmed up
yeah,
something like
yeah.
right after it.
But
Yeah.
you don't want to like burn them with wax or anything
No,
crazy.
probably not.
Yeah. they're blindfolded, you know, you don't want to
Yeah, that
traumatize
would be
anybody.
pretty.
But yeah, it's
Yeah.
probably safest to just touch them with your hands. But you know, if you want to get creative, you know, you can always
The feather sounds
use an
awesome.
ice cube, use a feather, you know, that kind of stuff. But yeah,
Oh, thank you.
or even a crystal. Sometimes crystals can be kind of chilly.
Yeah, they can
Yeah.
be. Yeah. So thank you so much for these ideas. I can't wait to get this. I'm going to post it probably tomorrow, listeners. This when you hear this, it'll be right now. Think about that for a minute. When you're hearing it, it'll be right now. Jennifer, thank you. And listeners, thank you as always. I'd also like to thank our sponsor, Everclear. Everclear is an advice app where you can get advice from psychics and empaths so you can get the clarity you need to create the life you deserve. And Jennifer and I are both advisors on there. You are Jennifer L, and she has a website. It's at jenniferlove.me.
That's it.
All right, I'll put all your info. I got it all. I'll put it all in the description, listeners. And if you want to find her, find her. She's on Instagram, and you will love all her stuff. And she will be back in a month or so around then for another part 2 to this. I feel the sex magic coming too. I'm feeling that. Might be explicit. Let's have our first explicit podcast with Jennifer Love, possibly. Think it over. Well, it's spirituality. I mean,
Yeah,
why
for
it should
sure.
be explicit. So
For
anyway,
sure.
we're pretty creative. We could probably make it not explicit. We're pretty creative.
Yeah,
All right. Thank you so much again for listening. And thank you so much for being there. And I hope you have a great time wherever you are right now. Peace out. Good night.